is a conservative straight talk, and to make sure that folks get the word out, they know what's going on. And we have a special guest, former NFL football star Jerone Davis. This guy right here is phenomenal. I met him a couple of weeks ago at his church, and we're going to sit around. We're going to talk about the election. We're going to talk about what happened during the election. We're going to talk about some of the things we can do as a community and some of the things that you want to do. So, hey, welcome to the Walt Blackman
Thank you for having me. We met at the prayer conference that God put on my heart.
Yes.
God put on my heart to have a prayer conference here in Arizona, and it was just a phenomenal timing because we didn't even know at the time that Arizona was going to be in play as it is now.
Oh yeah.
And I believe that prayer was very much pinnacle. It was God directed because of the type of fraud and satanic type of work that's going on here.
Yeah.
We needed that prayer.
Yeah.
And what made me want to do that prayer, Brother Walt, was that when the Vatican or when the Archbishop wrote President Donald Trump that letter, it was an open letter asking him to notice that there is a spiritual war going on between the children of light and the children of darkness.
And it is a spiritual war.
It is. It's totally a spiritual war. It's demonic. I believe that we are looking right into the abyss.
Yeah.
We're looking into the face of the one world order. You know, the Pope 2 years ago signed a one religion treaty. He signed a one religion treaty with the Muslims. And so we got the one world religion already set up. Hello. Hi, nice to see you. I haven't seen you.
So we've got a special guest here, and I'm going to let you sit right here.
All right.
Okay, here we go. All right.
Marissa.
Marissa.
I always get it wrong.
We've known each other, what, about 4 years now? Has it been 4 years?
Oh my, yeah, just about.
About 4 years?
Yeah.
You're like.
Walt, you out of the picture now.
Oh, that's okay.
Well, you're over on yours.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. So, Jerome, you want to finish what you're talking about? Then I'll introduce you.
Sure.
Yeah, go ahead and introduce Marissa.
Marissa Hamilton is a rock star when we are talking about politics in Arizona. She recently ran for the Phoenix mayor's position. She scared a lot of people.
I did.
Believe it or not, she scared a lot of people. A lot of folks were packing up their offices before the election. But talk to us a little bit about your race, what you see going forward for Arizona, what you want to see, and then we'll tie it in what Jerome was talking about.
Yes.
Sure. I'm going to adjust this mic a little bit.
Yeah.
All right, there we go. So it was a very interesting race because this was the first time that we've ever had the Phoenix mayor's race at the same time as the presidential election.
Yeah.
So we had literally no numbers to go off of as to what we would expect from this. We knew that we'd have more voter turnout. We didn't know exactly how much more voter turnout we would experience. We also knew that this mayor had made some very disastrous decisions since she's been mayor for about a little over a year.
Yeah.
She's responsible for our lockdowns here, actually statewide, because she's the one that pushed us into that lockdown.
Yeah.
She is responsible for lying and creating all this fear mongering about the pandemic of COVID-19. And she's also responsible for not using the COVID-19 money largely for testing, while at the same time going on national TV trying to create a national crisis over that. And so and she's also been very anti-police.
Oh yeah.
So we knew we were going to be able to make some progress for Republicans in that area. But Phoenix is 40% Republican, 60% Democrat.
Real quick, can y'all hear me on this microphone?
I can't hear you in my headset. I can't hear you in my headset.
Okay. I'm going to get some guys out here. You keep talking. They're going to come and fix this for me. We're ghetto over here. That's how we do it.
Do you want to see if that mic works?
No, I'm not.
Okay, you keep talking.
Okay.
I'll be back.
All right. So, so the scenario that we were in is that it was a very unpredictable situation that we were facing, and so we had a great team of people that wanted me to run, that wanted me to step up. And so that's what so that's the premise that we went on is, okay, we have someone that if she is continued to allow to have power, if she is not questioned in the power that she has, that she will be able to move forward and do some awful things like defunding our police. And so Dr. Kelly Ward asked me to run for Phoenix mayor at the middle of May. Which was towards the end of the signature gathering period.
Yeah.
And we were still able to gather a team together, a huge team.
And you did.
We got double the number. Yep, now we're good. We got double the number of signatures.
Yeah.
We ended up getting plus another 500 more than the mayor.
Okay.
We were able to maintain that momentum through. I was told before I decided to run, don't run, you're never going to raise money. We raised $180,000 in 2.5 months.
That is.
Yeah.
That is.
So pretty incredible. And we gathered more than 150,000 votes.
Yeah.
Almost 153,000.
And they spent how much against you?
$1 million.
Yeah. Welcome to the club.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The $1 million club.
Yeah, $1 million.
Because they spent $1 million on me too.
So so it was a phenomenal race, and we just did our campaign dinner the other night. We had over 200 volunteers helping us with this effort, and we had about 90 people attending our dinner on Saturday night.
Wow, that's incredible.
Yeah, phenomenal response to our campaign.
So what's in the future, though? I mean, I know you're not just going to hang up your campaign shoes. What are you going to do? I mean, 22 is around the corner, and I talked to you about doing something also.
Yeah,
So
I'm going to tell you about what my plans are.
Yeah. So I stay constantly focused in the now.
Yeah, you do.
And so right now what we have is we have a crisis on our hands from our election integrity system.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so I have been researching Dominion. I've been researching the issues that we've had here.
Isn't that something?
And it's explosive. What we found was that Secretary Hobbs did not do an actual technical analysis for her certification. She basically did a vendor-driven sales demo. Driven by Dominion, and that is what they use to certify
That's the
software.
app. That's the software that they use in all the swing states.
Exactly. Now, Dominion was used in Maricopa County.
Yes,
From what I understand too.
Exactly.
Yeah, we have, and what my research has found is that in a 2017 annual report from Fontes, from the recorder's office. By the way, it's the last report he ever published.
Yeah,
is
because he's no longer in office.
No, he's no longer in office, but we never got a report from him in 2018, 2019, or 2020.
Imagine that.
Yeah, imagine that. And so in 2017, the report says that we use Dominion software and Dominion employees to do our counting.
Yeah.
And that the Dominion employees are the ones that determined what our counts were.
The Dominion employees?
Yeah.
Wow.
And where are they at?
I didn't hear about that.
Where are they?
So the Dominion company is out of Canada.
Yeah.
And they actually share an office suite with the Tides Foundation.
Really?
Yes.
That's interesting.
Now, this Dominion software was developed for, what was his name, Castro?
So
to
Sydney,
flip countries.
Yeah, so Sydney Powell has gone on various media outlets now.
Okay.
She's someone that's very highly credible. So these are explosive allegations, but when they're coming from Sydney Powell, you must take a look at
Exactly.
them.
That's what I was saying in my broadcast last night. Sydney, she's very credible, and she said in her interview that she would not say this stuff unless she had the goods.
Yeah, and and I saw that interview on Fox today, and she seemed pretty confident that she's got a bag full of information that she's gonna disclose to the public, and that's a good thing.
Yes. Right. So we are pulling a team together for these election integrity issues. I've released a report to the Trump team, to a variety of different lawyers. I've published some of it on Twitter. Because the board of supervisors, they did basically what they rushed this through this new application through. They had on May 20th of last year, they had their elections committee recommend that we do an RFP, and 36 days later, they had completed their RFP, completed their technical reviews.
That's unrealistic. That's
Would you say that there was a plan?
Negotiated the contract. And had their vote to sign the contract with Dominion. They did a motion. They did a second motion, and then they just drove that vote through unanimously with zero discussion, zero technical reviews.
Committee hearings, nothing.
No committee hearings. We've had zero published technical documents in Arizona. The contract called for a pilot period.
Okay.
And that ended December 2019. We have no documents published from the pilot period.
Wow.
And they designed it in such a way that it would be with vote centers rather than precincts. And even within that, you should still be able to have the software meet our statutory requirement of having the votes be at 200 votes or be able to count the 2% per precinct.
Yes.
But they designed it in such a way that it is not possible for them to count it at the precinct level. So it's completely designed at a statute so that it would essentially, to an extent, it's created chaos, a great amount of chaos.
From what I'm understanding, though, even though you may not have the hardware of Dominion, but you may have the software.
We have both.
And also, and if you just have the software can have issues also.
Yes. So the software itself, what Cindy Powell has reported, and I have not verified this for our software suite yet. But Cindy Powell reported that there is capabilities within the software where they can shift votes electronically.
I heard. Yes.
I heard the same thing.
Yeah, and so that is the next thing that I'm researching right now. We have researched the fact that there are no published technical analysis reviews by Arizona or Maricopa County. We have no security reviews that have been
protocols.
Published.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, but technically what I'm finding is everything is within the statute. So we have a lot of work to do with our laws here in Arizona so that we never have this happen again. So that is my focus.
What's your take on that?
Well, I just really wish we would have headed this off. I wish we would have had the foresight to know that it was coming, which we did know that they were going to cheat.
2 years ago.
Even Biden himself said that we put together on video. He said we put together one of the greatest fraud teams that we ever had in America.
Yeah.
So we knew it was coming. I wish that there would have been some forethought, maybe some planning to kind of get
And that's on our part in the legislature.
Exactly.
We should have been doing that
right
2 years ago. And it shouldn't take everyday citizens or constituents to say, hey, what are y'all doing down there?
Exactly.
And that's what we're seeing now.
Well, we did have some really good bills from Michelle Ugenti, from Kelly Townsend, but the legislature decided to kill it with COVID.
Yeah.
And so
they used the COVID in more ways than one.
Yeah, exactly. And not to go down another rabbit hole, but we just had
go down that rabbit hole.
Go ahead, let's go.
Go ahead, girl.
Let's go.
We just had the Prime Minister of Canada, Trudeau. He did a little speech saying that that now is the time to essentially use this COVID crisis
as a reset.
Yeah, as a reset. To
Wow.
restructure
So they're
our
openly
economy.
saying it. They openly say that. So you know that Bush Sr. was the first one to come up with this one world order. That was the word. Then they started talking about it more. Now the word is the global reset.
Yeah,
Trudeau,
the global reset.
The global reset.
Yeah.
And that's what they're talking about doing. And they've been using the COVID for the global reset. Now you notice that they no longer want to talk about the vaccines.
Yeah.
Even Fauci is now saying that we're still going to wear the mask, and they're going to use the mask as a fear tactic to keep the control over the American people.
Well, doesn't Biden want to do a
mandatory mask
mandate?
So people don't realize what they voted for. The people that did vote for this Democrat ticket, they've actually voted for one of the most open, satanic, spiritually wicked Democrat parties we have ever seen, and they've been doing it openly in our faces.
Well, I think that where we're at now, I mean, so when you look at the combination of issues that we face right now, so in Phoenix, Mayor Kate had promised that she would use the crashed economy that she created to rebuild our economy in a climate social justice image.
Yeah,
and
the Green Deal.
Campaign speeches.
Yeah, and so no, this is what she tweeted out. And so we're seeing now very similar language being mimicked by our potential new vice president. We're seeing similar language coming out from Trudeau,
which is a totally different topic. Harris. I mean, she's in her own world.
Right.
Yeah.
And I mean, and on
all socialists are.
And on the Democrat side, the thing that's so concerning to me is that we went from the Democrats, and I mean, you and I have talked about this so many times about criminal justice reform.
Oh my goodness.
And and we were working so hard to make sure that we could have bipartisan bills in the legislature for criminal justice reform. And we found here locally that the Democrats killed every single criminal justice reform bill that we had just about. And so now we see that the Democrats as a national party have selected the person that authored the crime bill, which is the worst bill that we've faced. That's the work that we have all been working so hard to undo. And then Harris, who doubled down on it and made it worse
and put more black men in jail because of what she did in California.
Right. And so when we look at the scenario, the American people and our people in Arizona are expected to believe that our people in Arizona voted for more masks, that we voted for more shutdowns, that we voted for people that are responsible for our criminal justice crisis that we have faced for the last decade plus. And And at the same time, all of our down ballot Republican candidates overwhelmingly won.
Right.
Yeah, there's something tricky about. There's
So,
something that's a
and-
different conversation too.
And at the same time,
Yeah.
208, which is our biggest
208,
tax increase
big tax increase.
in the history,
Marijuana.
in the history of our state,
Yeah.
that 208 passed with flying colors, while at the same time, California, who also faced their biggest tax increase in history, failed their tax increase.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because they already got California.
They already got it.
They already have it.
Gavin Newsom.
They already have it. So the next, territory to get is Arizona.
Yeah.
So it's interesting though when you're talking down ballot. Out on the campaign trail, I was talking to folks about voting basically, and typically Republicans, and you've heard it, they were voting straight ballot. They were
Right.
from the top of the ticket all the way down to the bottom.
Right.
So how does in most state houses in the United States and here in Arizona we keep our majority, but we don't keep our president?
Yeah, when we were looking at the numbers,
Evidence of fraud.
I don't remember who tweeted it out. Actually, it was the data guru. He tweeted out that that President Trump was underperforming Biggs and Lesko by 2%.
Yeah.
And so
That was a poll.
yeah,
Okay.
no, that wasn't a poll.
That's
the actual numbers.
That was a number.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so in those respective districts, in those same districts, President Trump was underperforming Lesko and Biggs by 2%.
Okay.
Now, we do have the number of Trumpers, and we do have some of the Mormon community that said that they would vote for Biden.
Yeah.
The Mormons for Biden, or whatever they were called.
Mormons for Biden. Yeah.
But I don't think that number totals 2%.
Yeah.
So it's a very interesting situation to be in.
Well, that's why we need an investigation.
Yeah, we need immediately what we need is a statistically significant hand count.
Yeah.
We don't have that today. So in Maricopa County, a statistically significant hand count of election day ballots would be between 15 and 16,000. And it's a little more than 16,000 for the early ballots.
Yeah, I don't know if you know this, but I actually sent a letter to the Auditor General's today.
Wow,
from my
that's
office, asking for a comprehensive audit on the election and to look at all 15 counties.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think we need to do that, and we can get into the head count too.
Well, the problem with the hand count is the same thing we're seeing in Georgia. We're seeing it in Pennsylvania, is that they've gotten in what they wanted in by the time. When they blocked those doors and blocked those windows and wouldn't allow Republicans to come in and view the ballots, they had already changed the dates on those ballots. So even if we go in and do a hand count and we do a recount, those ballots are still going to count towards the overall count. Now, if we could have cut it off before they got them mixed it into the bundle of the other ones.
Yeah.
So a hand recount is not going to do it. And I'm thinking that one of the things that I'm hoping is really true is that there was the watermark ballots. I'm hoping that was a real deal.
Yeah.
And from what I'm seeing is there's some evidence of that.
Now, do we really think we're going to see a difference, though, if we do the hand counts, we do the investigations? Do you think that we're going to see a difference on who's at the top of that ticket?
So there's some options there. So I am always grounded in data. And so in Arizona, we locally source our ballots. So we don't have watermarked ballots here. And so that's not going to be an option for us. But what we can do is if we do a statistically significant hand count, that can show us at least if it matches the machines. But it's not going to be sufficient because we have our adjudication process. That's where Texas primarily failed the Dominion software. There's two issues they primarily failed it over. One was the security of the system. And I posted on Twitter a picture from a screenshot from a Maricopa County vote video that shows that all of our USB ports on every voting machine was completely open and unsealed.
Wow.
And so
that's a security
that's
breach
enough right there. That's enough right there to overturn.
And so what Texas said is in their audit was that with the USB ports being open, that if there was a USB that was inserted into it during the vote, it would stop the vote and it would alert someone that it needed to be validated.
Yeah.
But it just would take someone in that with an election swipe card to just go through and swipe it out. But the record technically should still be there. But if the USB device was inserted into it while the machine was shut off, it would not alert anyone.
It wouldn't
to the
pick
screen.
anything up.
Yeah, but it would have a log and it would register a log. So
And that's just one machine you saw, right?
no,
Or
it was
what-
all of the
That's
machines.
all the machines,
It was
but
a
that-
video of all the machines.
See,
and so
that
all
was
the
the
machines have
importance.
USB opens.
Yeah.
That was the importance of the stop count.
Yeah.
So they got a tally of how President Donald Trump was leading. They got a tally of what they needed to catch up with. And then they shut down. And when the shutdown, you can do what you got to do with those computers, and you can bring in ballots and stuff, which is what they did in Pennsylvania.
So they knew
Michigan.
exactly how many votes they needed.
They knew that's what they did. They wanted to see how much they needed, and they did it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then on some of the ballots, they just voted presidential. They didn't vote anything else.
Yeah.
It was just presidents only, and that's when they was rushing. It was rushing to try to make up. And all of those extra ones, what they were single votes for the president only, were Biden.
Yeah.
Yeah, and what Sidney Powell claimed today, which is again something I have not been able to verify, but she says that she has the affidavits and that they've secured a machine that they're doing.
I've heard that. Yeah.
that they're doing the audit on. But what she's saying is that essentially that if the machines are connected to the internet, that that the numbers report in as they're being tabulated.
Yeah.
The counts of all the elections, and so that she's saying that they are able to remote control to
Mhm.
flip those votes
Yeah.
around.
Okay.
If that is true,
Yeah.
and then we would not, with the tests that we've conducted in the United States through the EAC Commission,
Yeah.
that's our Federal Election Commission. With the format of the way they conduct the test, we would have not have been able to identify that. The
Yeah.
tests that they do are simple functionality tests. So they just take basically the manual, they create a test from that, and they say, okay, it's functioning as designed, or no, it fails.
Yeah. So I want to play the devil's advocate, because in 2016, when President Trump won, the Democrats were essentially doing the same thing.
Right. They were still cheating. Yes.
They were saying,
Absolutely.
well, they were saying that we cheated.
What, with Russia?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. How do we get away from that, though? How do we get away from looking like a party that's complaining because our guy didn't win?
Well, that's where you need to have election security come into play.
Bingo.
And we don't have that right now. In my opinion, we don't have it anywhere in the United States, because the EAC, it's an optional committee. They are under-resourced and understaffed by 50%.
Yeah.
So they do not have the staff or the right now, or the tools to be able to do a full security analysis of any of the software systems or the hardware. But our Secretary of States are using, like Secretary of State Hobbs said, well, the EAC passed the software. No, they just did a usability
They
test.
sure did.
I think they do have a
And
guy
so-
that helped design the Dominion. That's what Sidney Powell was saying. They do have
Yeah.
one guy who helped design the Dominion, and he knows exactly how.
Because if we're going to be buying a technical software package that's so important, like election software,
Yeah.
then we need to do a full analysis, a full security analysis.
And we didn't
of
do
it.
that. We didn't do that.
Well, we didn't publish anything saying we did it. We didn't include it in any meeting minutes. We didn't include it
No
in
stakeholder
any public
meetings,
meetings,
nothing.
no stakeholder meetings, nothing. So yeah, so we don't have, it could have been done during that pilot period, but it was not published.
Yeah.
So we don't have that public information. We would need,
Well, if it's bad news, you're not going to publish it.
yeah.
Well,
So
so-
I mean, but if it's good news for you on your side, you're like, oh, I don't want to tell the other side that this is what's going to happen.
Okay, so election security is one thing, but here we are now, right now in the midst of a major fraud. So election security we're going to work on that, but I think accountability is the main thing now. If we can get accountability, allow us to go into the computers, do what we got to do to get the computers, get the counts and everything down. That's the most important thing right now, accountability, because I think everybody knows it's a cheat. Even people that hate President Donald Trump, folks that I know, said that he was cheated out of that.
Well, Stevie Wonder can see it.
Stevie wanted
You know,
we can get Ray
come on.
Charles to come.
Yeah,
back.
I mean, come on.
Right. So he was defrauded, and defrauding him is defrauding us as the American people.
Exactly.
And the thing is, what I tell people is that here we have to stop this, because okay, I know you don't like President Donald Trump for his rhetoric or whatever, but if you allow them to cheat and get in office and remain in office along with this, you will never be able to get them out.
Exactly. Yeah.
They will remain in power.
And it will take at least 10 years
Exactly.
yeah.
to do anything.
And one thing that Sidney Powell said today, I was trying to pull up the quote, but I didn't get it up fast enough. But I'll paraphrase. She basically said that at this point, with the evidence that they have, which they are supposed to be starting to release tomorrow in the lawsuits that they're going to be filing, that
It's enough to overturn the votes.
well, not just that it's
Really?
enough to overturn
Wow.
the votes, but she is cautioning any border supervisors or any Secretary of State or any governor from signing off on their respective
Yeah.
elections.
Now,
She said that they're going to be included in the fraud if they do.
have we done that in Arizona?
We have not, no one has certified their elections
No.
because we are technically still counting. We still have the provisional ballots in
Yeah.
many of the counties.
Mhm.
So we have not done that. The board of supervisors had a meeting today. My understanding is that they had on the agenda for it to go to executive session.
Yeah.
So I don't have any information yet as to what their decisions were today, but the public is encouraged by the AZGOP to continue to ask the Board of Supervisors in Maricopa County to do a hand count.
Yeah.
I am encouraging at least a statistically sound hand count, but we actually have Congressman Biggs, Congressman Schweiker, and
Yeah.
Congressman Gosar who have written a formal letter to the Board of Supervisors asking them to do a full hand count.
Yeah. Now, but we have some people say there's nothing to see here.
That's what they
Well,
always say. That's what all the media is saying.
I mean, the process that we did to analyze the software and to purchase the software,
Yeah.
procure the software, and to certify it, I think that is enough for the people of Arizona to be concerned and to deserve a statistically sound hand count.
Right.
Because if you are rushing a process through for a $6.1 million allocation of money,
Mhm.
that's pretty significant.
It sure is.
And then if you're going to use a vendor sales driven demo to do your certification process, I mean, that's corruption it's just blatant corruption. I used to be in technology, and so I
Yeah.
know the difference between these things.
Yeah.
When
yeah.
you're doing a vendor driven sales demo, you're doing it basically to executives.
Because you want to sell the product.
Yeah, just because you're trying to push that sale through.
Yeah, you're putting the best foot
Yeah.
forward.
But what's supposed to happen is that then that's just supposed to be where the executives say, okay, you can evaluate the software, and then from there you do a technical analysis. And as far as our public records reflect, that never happened.
Yeah. And that's why it's important that we, as legislators, we ask for these audits, we ask for these hand counts,
Yeah.
we ask for these letters that Gosar and Lesko and so forth and Schweiker are doing. And that's important that we do that.
Yeah.
Because the average person that's sitting in Snowflake, Arizona today
Right.
is saying, what are you doing?
Right.
Because I feel like my vote was not counted.
And that's the concern that we have. If the Board of Supervisors decide to just bury this, like what they did with their mask mandates,
I don't think that's going to happen.
I hope it doesn't.
You think it
but
does?
if
Well,
they do, they will suppress future conservative votes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
And
well, they're not
we-
concerned about that.
And we need to do, well, they should be, because in 2022, some of them want to run for governor.
And 2022 is
So-
coming pretty quick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So
coming.
Katie Hobbs.
Wow.
Talk to her about her real quick.
So let's talk about her.
So I think she needs to have an opponent.
I first would like to thank my fellow Nazis here at the table.
Oh, yeah.
We're Nazis.
We're Nazis now. Can you believe she said
She
that?
said that. I mean, she's a piece of work. She's a leftist all the way.
I got it. She's a leftist, and I got it. She has her own ideology.
Right.
But to come out and say that if you're on the right, you're a neo-Nazi.
That you're a
Right.
neo-Nazi.
I mean,
Yeah.
I've got a bald head, but I'm not a neo-Nazi.
How in the world is that considered just something that you just are going to ignore when she is the sitting Secretary of State? That she has so
Aren't they
much
supposed to be
power over
biased?
this
They're
process.
supposed to be.
They're supposed to be
Now,
biased.
but did she tweet that out? Did
Yeah,
she say
she
that?
tweeted it
She
out.
tweeted it at real Donald Trump.
Yeah.
Oh, so she knew what she was doing.
She tweeted
Yeah,
it right
in
to him.
2017.
Yeah.
In 2017, she
It wasn't
tweeted this out.
It wasn't a drunk tweet, was it?
It was a power drunk. She's a socialist.
Well, what we have now, she's had plenty of time to apologize for those words.
But you
She's
can't.
had
she's
plenty
not.
of time to explain
She's
it
not.
away, and she's
She
not.
says that.
She's letting it stand.
But how do you walk that back? Oh, there's a bunch. You're all neo-Nazis. Oh,
Right.
Oh, that was a
No,
joke.
this is
How
what
do
you
I-
say.
How do I
You
pull
say,
it
but
back?
they were very nice neo-Nazis.
But
Oh,
they were
yeah.
nice.
Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. And that's a significant amount of votes.
Yeah.
That's a huge. Yeah, I mean, Arizona is still red.
It is.
We are not. We did not have a blue wave like they predicted.
Yeah.
But it is absolutely insulting to us, especially when you are considering that the Republican Party that we have here in Arizona is a very modern Republican Party.
It is.
Yeah.
We are very strong on things like criminal justice reform.
Yeah.
We're
doing things other people in the country aren't doing.
Exactly. We have taken the lead on so many issues that the Democrats say that they that they care about, but they never ever solve. In fact, they make it worse
Well,
every single year.
We did the ad hoc committee.
Mm-hmm.
Marissa was part of that committee, and we'll talk about this a little later too, because we've got a bill that we're gonna run again,
Yes.
which is a great bill. But when we were doing the count of the recommendations,
Okay.
you can go back and look at the tape,
Right.
and not one Democrat
No.
agreed to the recommendations.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, it was all Republicans.
Not only that,
Resist.
they
I
were
mean, that's
all.
what they
Yeah,
just
but
resist.
they were on their phones.
They were on their phone. They were like doing this. They're like chatting with each other.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it was the most ridiculous process ever. And
This-
some of them helped me write my bill,
Yeah.
and
Well,
they would not even sign on to the bill.
because
Yeah.
because they really don't mean it.
Yeah.
It's talking points to them, just like the racial talking point,
Right.
just like the neo-Nazi. It's a talking point. It's come so normalized now.
I think
Yeah.
it's so eerie how they're all together. They say the same thing.
Oh yeah,
There's no evidence. Russia hoax,
Yeah.
impeachment. They all say the same thing.
yeah,
From Hollywood to the media to the White House.
yeah.
They seem to be
You
very
know.
unified on their talking.
They are
points.
unified. So
Well, I gotta
unified.
give that.
Instantly unified.
I've got to give them that. They are unified on their talking points, even though their talking points are ridiculous.
Yeah, it is.
Most
It's
of the
very
time.
pathetic.
You know, but
they have a very good communication network. Whoever
Whatever it
decides
is,
their
yeah.
talking points, it gets out there very quickly,
do,
and
yeah.
they are very disciplined in sticking to them.
they do,
Yeah.
and that's something that we probably need to get better at as Republicans.
Well, that's what
Yeah.
President Donald Trump was saying. He says, one thing I can say about them is they're good at sticking together.
They do stick
They stay
together.
together.
They do. It's like siblings.
Right.
They beat each other up.
Right.
But if you try to beat them up, they're in there trying to, oh
Absolutely.
no, yeah. So
Yeah.
so moving forward, let's talk a little bit about the bill.
Sure.
We and this is a great bill. I mean this is a really good. And we were talking
Yeah.
about, we had a meeting today. We were talking about that sort of program that we're trying to do. Just kind of wave top
Sure.
about that bill.
So it's a very cool program. It's called Police Deflection. We started off our criminal justice reform ad hoc committee on
Yeah.
policing, and we weren't exactly sure where it was going to go, but we knew that police needed to be part of the solution. And so, and what we found is that we actually had Tucson, Goodyear, and Tempe that had already implemented programs.
Exactly.
In Goodyear, they have 2 officers that are dedicated to working on homelessness.
Uh-huh.
And so in their program, basically, if someone is ready to receive services, rather than arresting and incarcerating them, they are able to deflect that person pre-arrest to receive the services that they need. But they don't just hand them like a paper and say, go take a bus to this.
Yeah.
They actually drive them to the facility for the intake process. If they have time, they will sit with the person during the intake process.
Follow up.
Are they
program.
considered
Follow up.
incarcerated?
No,
No.
this is
It's at will.
pre-arrest.
And that's
It's
and
at will.
that's the key. And that's the problem that
Yeah.
we're finding. These folks
All
are
right.
being arrested,
Okay.
and
Right.
then they're talking about deflection
Okay.
programs.
Mhm.
That's already too late.
Yeah. So and it's too late at that point. At that point, it's a diversion program. And so what Tucson has done, they've implemented the most sophisticated form of this program. Tempe's implemented a juvenile program, but in Tucson, they've deflected over 1,500 people, and it's been super successful. And they do it for anything that's a non-violent, victimless crime. It's typically related to mental health, homelessness, or substance abuse.
Oh, that's good.
So if you think about someone that's in a substance abuse scenario,
Mhm.
the crime that usually they're committing is just usually using the drugs.
Yeah,
Right.
And
are stealing somebody's tools out
Yeah.
of the garage to buy
and
the
so,
drugs.
right, and if it's in that scenario, a victim exists, and the victim is allowed to decide if they want the person to be arrested and prosecuted, or if the person is ready to receive help, that the victim decides if they are able to be deflected.
Do they have any kind of records at all? I mean,
What do you
if,
mean?
if they're brought into this
No.
program, are they
No.
misdemeanor? Nothing
No,
like that? Okay.
they have no record, which is what's key to the program, because that allows our reentry system, and Walt can confirm this, is dismal. It's horrible.
Oh yeah.
It is completely. It is probably one of the biggest failures in our state at this point right now. And
$2
so,
billion worth.
Yeah, exactly. And so it is important that they don't have a record, because otherwise they will have a very difficult time getting housing or being able to get a job
yeah.
and get back on their
Yeah.
feet. And so that's why this program is so key. When there's no victim, when there's no when there's no violence involved, it's just someone that is hurting themselves.
Yeah.
We need to be able to come together as a community and get them the help that they need, and
Yeah.
this empowers our police to
Now
do it.
during our ad hoc, I'm not sure if you ran into the gentleman. I met a gentleman. He was locked up 25 years ago.
Uh-huh.
25 years ago. He has a felon on his record,
Mhm.
and he can't even get an apartment, and he hasn't been in any trouble since. And
25 years.
25 years
God
ago.
almighty.
25 years ago, this guy was locked up, and now he still can't get an apartment.
Right.
And I think those programs that was in place, that would have helped. And also, Ben Toma, Representative Toma, wrote the expungement bill last year.
Yeah.
And I believe he's going to run it again. But I think that's gonna alleviate a lot of this.
Yeah, absolutely.
It sounds like it runs parallel to President Trump's second chance.
And it does.
It does. Yeah. And actually, President Trump did an executive order that is police deflection. He didn't just use that terminology, but it is exactly a police deflection program.
Great.
And it does.
And so there are grants out there that can empower our police department. We know our police department needs every single penny that they can get right now because they're so underfunded.
Oh, but we're Nazis. We want to defund it.
Right, we're Nazis.
Yeah.
So,
get the brown shirts out, everybody.
Right.
Yeah. So it is such a beautiful program. It's such a powerful program.
Sounds
I
good.
did a ride along with Goodyear PD, and they took me to the bushes. They are literal bushes that people live in that are experiencing homelessness.
Wow.
And they live underneath the bush. And I was able to meet some people that are going through this program, that are getting the help that they need. And the thing is what I don't think most people realize is that so many people in this scenario, the longer that they're in their position of homelessness and substance abuse, the more they pull back from the society, and the less they trust society to be able to get the help that they need.
Yeah.
And so in Goodyear, it takes them 50 to 70 contacts with the police to get someone to trust them again and start receiving services. Something as simple as, can I take your pet to go get the shots that your pet needs? Can I get you some medical help?
Now, you run a church.
Yeah.
Do you run into that type of person on the street, homeless priors, and they're just out there? Well, how do you deal with that?
I mean, it's they want to be there. When we try to get programs and help them with housing, going back into society in a normal way, they don't want to do that because it's responsibility. You understand? They just have so much income, right? And they want to be on the streets. They want to do the drugs. But we do feeding programs. You know, we feed them, clothe them, give them clothes, and try to help as much as we can.
You give them a reason.
But as far as trying to get them off the streets and get them into some housing or into certain programs, they are limited programs. First of all, they are limited programs. They do have a lot of mental institutions you go in for a week or two, and then they let you back out on the streets. So
now, what we found out during our ad hoc is that there are a lot of programs out there, but DOC is not linking up with these programs that are actually working.
Yeah, they're not
how
allowing
many programs
them
would you
They're
say?
not allowing them in.
You said there's a lot of programs?
Oh, yeah. So say, for example, your program was to rehabilitate somebody getting out of prison because there's a high likelihood that they would be homeless in about 6 months. Okay. Those programs should be able to go into DOC and do a partnership with DOC, and it's a warm handoff when these folks leave prison. But we're seeing that that's not happening. These folks are getting bus tickets, and they're saying, "Okay, there you go," and they're on Van Buren living in a tent somewhere.
Yeah. And
wow.
Yeah, and it's really disgusting what our entire system is today. We spend so much money on this system, and we are basically paying for recidivism to be nearly guaranteed.
Yeah, it's just like California.
Yeah.
I lived in the Bay Area for a long time. I played ball over there for the Niners, for the Oakland Raiders.
Yeah.
And it was beautiful. I come over here and live for a couple of years, go back. They got king-size beds under the freeway.
Yeah.
There's garbage, tents all up and down the freeway, trash, poop, all kinds of stuff. And they're paying so much taxes. I mean, their toll back when I was there, it was like $4. Now it's up to $10.
Yeah.
So where's all this money going?
And if we look at the burden on the taxpayers,
exactly,
and that's going to hit us hard. That's with this new
tax, with the new tax
increase, and then we've got businesses that are hurting too because of the COVID deal. Yep. So folks aren't able to work as many hours as they can, so revenue is going to be cut short. That's a no-brainer.
That's a purposeful
right there.
choke.
But when we've got more folks that we have to take care of on the street as a result of poor mental health, poor exit job programs, job trainings, this
drug
and that.
Addiction, alcohol addiction.
And with the crisis that we face in Phoenix, like over the summer, as an example, our police department said that our gang violence has tripled.
Really?
Yes, from the pandemic.
In Phoenix?
In Phoenix.
Wow.
Our homicides, over the summer, rose by 25%, and now they've risen, as of last month, 44%.
Holy smokes.
Yes, year over year.
Yeah, there was some some shots at a cop from those very thugs,
Yeah. We've had we had three attacks in 1 week on police officers. It was a drive-by, an ambush, and then someone tried to run over a police officer.
But you don't hear about that.
The media is covering it up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
You won't hear about that.
No.
You'll hear the one person who is committing a crime,
Right.
okay,
Yeah.
gets caught, gets shot. You'll hear that, and
Yeah.
this person has a long history of criminal activity. And I got beat up about that about George Floyd. I wasn't saying that it was okay for what happened to him.
Right.
Right.
I was looking at the program that failed him,
Right.
and I don't want to see Arizona come to that. And that's where we're headed.
Yeah.
We're going to have more George Floyds because we have not taken care of our programming and our systems to make sure these folks are successful.
And I think that's exactly it, because I think that the defund the police movement is really blaming the police as the front door to the
Oh,
entire
yeah.
criminal justice system.
Oh yeah.
Where they're not just the front door. They're also end up having to face being the revolving door.
Exactly.
And they're not the ones that make the laws. They're not the ones that
They enforce
prevent
them.
them from being able to do partnerships with community organizations.
Yeah.
They're not the ones that disable them and handcuff our police ability to work in our communities.
Yeah.
It ends up being our local mayors,
Yeah,
our
right.
local city councils.
Oh, but they'll blame it. They're going to blame it on the police. They're going to blame it on the state. I have a buddy that's a former police officer, and then I'll let you do your deal. He was a police officer for about 10 years
Yes.
after he got out of the Army. And he said what folks are expecting is people to go to these scenes, these crime scenes or what have you, and do an assessment of a person they just met and be their mother, their father, the coach, their teacher, their mentor,
Social
their
worker.
social worker in
Yeah.
15 minutes. And when they can't do that because they're not equipped to do that, people turn around and blame the police.
Wow.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So what they're doing with the police officers, from what I'm looking at from a distance, is that they are reimagining the police. You know, so
Yeah.
that's their magic
No,
word.
that's literally, yeah, that's
They're
their word.
reimagining. I was like, what is this
Reimagining
reimagine?
Reimagining
All of
the
a sudden,
police.
the media's coming out and the left is coming out with this word reimagine. So what they're doing, if we've seen it happen in Chicago, right? So you take the police officers from the public. They can no longer protect the public, but they become the attack dog of the mayors and of the governors if you don't follow the COVID lockdown
And
process.
that's,
Yeah.
yep.
So that's exactly what they're doing. They're turning the police on the civilians as attack dogs for them. Now, they can have police officers. They can call the police officers. And they can use the police officers, but they're not for the public venture. That's all
Yeah.
that is.
They're not.
And you see, I mean, that's what we're seeing in DC, right?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
from the huge
From the MAGA.
Trump rally over the
Oh,
weekend.
Yes.
Million MAGA
Yeah.
march. It was beautiful.
Wow.
Beautiful
I
to
mean,
see.
the police were not allowed
Did you
to
go to that?
actually. I did not.
Oh,
no,
yeah.
I was here researching our voting election
Oh, yeah,
issues,
yeah,
our Dominion issues. But no, and that's when I had my campaign party. So, but we saw all the violence after that
Yeah.
event, and the police were not stopping the violence.
They stood right there and watched a lady. It was an African American lady. She had 3 daughters with her, and these goons attacked her and those daughters. And the police was standing right there, mind you.
Because
the police was standing there.
Because anytime that
Those little girls were screaming and
anytime
crying.
they step in, they're going to call foul play.
Yeah.
And they're going to say racist, and they're going to do all these.
Well, look, I'll be like, you know what? After the day, you can take my badge, but I'm not going to stand here and let this woman and her children get attacked by these people.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's horrifying. We saw. I mean, our seniors, people that were clearly there, that were aged citizens, and we are supposed to be honoring our seniors.
Right.
As a society, we are supposed to be taking care of them. It's supposed to be seniors and children first.
Yeah.
And we have lost those ideals as a nation, and we have got to turn back.
I believe that all of this stuff. I believe that you have the BLM and the
goodness.
Antifa.
That's a
Both of
whole
these-
segment
Yeah.
right there.
Both of those are the right and left hand attack dogs of the left.
Oh,
And I
absolutely.
think what we have after this election, when all the dust settles, when everything is straightened out, right, there's going to be no more Democrat Party. We're going to see an extreme left. We're going to see socialism
Democrat
versus the right.
socialist. Oh,
The
yeah.
Democrat Party is gone.
Yeah.
It's gone after this. Once we straighten this out, they're done.
Yeah, because you got the radicals that are taking over. You
Yeah.
got the AOCs
AOC,
and the Harris.
Nancy
Harris's.
Pelosi's gone.
Yeah.
So once she's gone, it's going to be AOC in there, and you got people that are backing her like George Soros and all the powerful bankers and everybody. You're going to see a hard left, an extreme left, because the Democrat Party is gone.
But this is how crazy this is. And nothing against bartenders, but AOC was a bartender.
Yeah,
From what I understand.
I know.
Now you got this person as a bartender that's actually leading your party.
Mhm.
Well, my understanding is that she was basically selected for that.
She was selected.
Yes.
They basically did interviews.
Yeah, they did
That the organization that financially backed her did interviews.
And she was the best applicant.
Yeah, that she was the best applicant.
That's like going into a
Because of her
McDonald's.
views. Only because of her views,
Well,
not because of her education and not because of her progressive thought.
I think it has more to do with her look, the way she communicates, that she's that like.
Well, how she
The way she communicates?
well look at the demographic.
They're not, yeah, because they're not, they were not looking for, they were looking for someone to pick up the revolution. And that's what AOC has done. She's been able to pick up that revolution and give it a younger look than Bernie.
And they don't want some old white guy in there to comb his head with a balloon.
Yeah.
You know, come on. I mean, Bernie's been doing this for years,
Right.
And he still hadn't gotten his hairdo right.
I know.
Right.
So
My only regret is that I still can't do a Bernie impression. I'm still.
Who does? I saw a sitcom or something like that.
Uh-huh.
But you nailed the nail right on the head.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to see a new party emerge after this election, and are we prepared as Republicans, conservatives, to deal with that? Because this year, I mean, they put a lot of money on you. They put a lot of money on me, Mesnar, and not for these folks are sitting back there licking their wounds now. They're saying, now what can we do in 22?
Yeah, I think so. I think one thing for sure, we have to secure our elections, and we're close to that.
Yeah.
We had on the news on Fox News yesterday a report that we did have ballot harvesting here. There was a man that moved away a year ago to train in the Olympics. And then he got called by Matt Brainard's group to say, hey, you voted in the election. Can you confirm if you voted? And he was like, no, I haven't lived in Arizona for over a year.
Yeah, they were knocking on doors.
Yeah, and so
really?
Yep, and so his ballot was stolen and voted.
And somebody voted for
it. Harvested and voted
in his name.
In his name. So we know these challenges exist. But as a party, I think what I really appreciate about Trump is that he has made us a very diverse party.
Yeah, he has. Well, look at me.
Yeah. Look at you.
I mean, come on. I mean, I'm that guy who's a Republican and elected as a Black American, and you typically wouldn't see that.
Yeah.
So
I think that for the Republican Party, that and with the work that a lot of organizations have done, like Brandon Straka with Walkaway, I think that those initiatives are so important. For us to be able to keep moving forward and show America that the left lies about us.
Mm-hmm.
We are a compassionate party.
Yeah, they do lie about us.
We love people. We want people to be uplifted.
Yeah.
We want people to be successful and to live their greatest good, and have the American dream. We want every person to have the American dream.
Well, what can we expect from a party that said no to the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendment?
Yeah.
You're not really diverse in your history.
Yep.
So they don't want us to know that. We're just going to go around the round table real quick. You can just kind of lighten you around whatever you want to talk about. We're coming up on an hour now. And
wow, that's fast.
Yeah, we're having fun. This is what this podcast is all about, and be able to talk about. It's like the what's the new app out there? It's
TikTok.
Not TikTok.
It's a newer one than that.
It starts with a Parler. You can say anything on Parler without being shut down.
Exactly.
That's what this is about. You can say things you want to. So we'll start with you, and Mr. Davis, talk about just kind of close it up, and some of the things that you see going forward.
Well, I would just like to see. I would like to see some powerful evidence this week. That's probably going to overturn some of these electoral votes in the states, the swing states that are contested right now. I'm waiting for President Donald Trump to start his rallies again. I would love for him to do his MAGA rallies and pep talks and stuff like that to just get out, because I think a lot of Trump supporters are we're hurting. Like we're just kind of like lingering, and the media's got full play. They out there with their scenario. So I want to see that. And so I'm just looking for some hardcore evidence and something this week.
Great.
That's going to overturn the whole game.
Okay. Thanks for coming.
I will be working further on these election integrity issues. I'm working to bring a team together so that we can get some good legislation in this session. And
we're going to have you back on that too.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. And so for anyone that wants to follow me, I have a newsletter. You can sign up at marissahamilton.com, and it's spelled MERISSA. And
Is that for me because I don't know how to spell?
No, that's for me because I always say.
Because you said
just say I walked in and most people called me Melissa.
That's it. Well, I'm a terrible speller. That's why she was looking at me.
Yeah,
I know.
So marissahamilton.com. I will be releasing the research that I've done so far in a newsletter tomorrow.
Great. And as we move forward with the criminal justice reform, I'll have you back on here, and we'll be talking about some of those other things we're talking about. I appreciate y'all coming on board here. It's great. This is our second podcast. So those folks that are out there that are interested in this podcast, you can find the podcast on Pandora. You can go on iHeartRadio, and there's some other stuff that they hooked me up with. But Pandora. Did I say? What did I say?
Pandora.
I said
It
Pandora.
was kind of like a Panera.
Panera bread.
Yeah.
Like it's like you can eat your food and hear your music at the same time.
Yeah. But I'll be asking y'all back, and particularly after we move forward, and then when we move forward on criminal justice reform, because that's going to be a hotbed item.
Congratulations on your win, buddy.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
And I am so excited that Cora is out.
Oh, I know. I was having nightmares that night.
Oh my goodness.
When I went to sleep, it was
just like, there's no way she can get more power.
Yeah.
No.
Are we going to have a split seat there?
Yeah.
I was having nightmares, and I woke up. It was great. It was
Yeah.
like, I don't know, the night before Christmas, and you wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was so excited. I actually cheered out loud.
Okay, everybody, thank you so much, and we'll be back next week. Where we're going to be talking to a guy who is a former military personnel I served with in the 2nd Cavalry Regiment. He's going to talk about his success being a veteran and also his challenges running in the criminal justice system. So everybody, have fun, take care, and let's make sure that we're taking care of each other. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye. Thanks.